So, I'm in the car. I'm heading to our first Sitzprobe for American Idiot, which I'm really super excited about. We open a week from tonight. Yes! But I've been having this reoccurring thought happen to me. And it deals with a lot of the political overtones that are within American Idiot. And the reason that it's something that's been struck with me so much is because Scott gave us a note last week, Scott Miller, the director, that we need to remember that these are, 20-somethings. Now, given I am a 20-something, being 27 years old, but, they are 20-somethings in 2005. Excuse me. They're not 20-somethings right now in 2016. I was not 11 years old. I was 16 years old in 2005. And I remember the sheer amount of anger and fear and anxiety that were just so very commonplace then. And I remember watching the news day after day after day. Now, I know that sounds weird for some of you, a 16-year-old who watches the news a lot. And just outwardly, I was very angry and still very upset about 9/11. And internally too, but internally I was beginning to question a lot of what I understood about politics and about how the United States was and about what our place in the world was and all these questions. And it's odd to me to have to go to turn the clock back 11 years and just bring all that back up to the forefront and put that on stage. But I feel like that is almost a metaphor for American society right now. Donald Trump did one of the most amazing things. Quick disclaimer, not a Donald Trump supporter at all. However, one of the things that he did that I find one, it keeps within his brash nature. Two, I find it courageous just because nobody has dared to do it yet. He criticized George Bush for lying to the American people. For knowingly lying. Not even saying, oh, well, no, they told me. No, so it's not me. Knowingly lied to the American people. And nobody, not a single person on the Republican side, had the balls to dare stand and say no. To say, you lie, Mr. President. Like they've had the balls to do to this current president. In the interest of full disclosure, yes, I am an Obama supporter. And also, feel the burn. All that aside, I have been an avid watcher of politics for a very, very long time. I remember the news covering the 1996 election, when Hillary went in to vote and when Bill went in to vote, and I can't remember who they were running against. Maybe Bob Dole, when Al Gore went in to vote, and then I remember, the little blue dress and the whole Lewinsky thing, and I did not have sex with that woman. I did, just lying. I would have been, personally, I don't care. It's none of my business. If he had sex with the woman, he had sex with the woman. I don't. Anyways. But the thing that really pulled my attention and really got me interested in politics and how they affect us, and why it is so important for we as Americans and for we in democracies, even as shattered as ours is, to vote, was the Columbine mass shooting in 1999. I was in 4th grade, and that was the first time that I saw anything on the news where I knew that these were people like me. These were students at a school, that this could happen to me. And that is the first time that I really started paying attention. And it's really probably what really started me down the path of where I am now with my stance on gun rights. But it was one of those very shocking moments for me, and it really completely shattered the view for me that the United States was a safe place to be. Yes, I knew about the Oklahoma City bombing. Yes, I had watched that. But those were adults. To a 4th grader, you don't see what happens to adults and think, oh, that can happen to me. You need something to relate to. So as a 4th grader and seeing high school students killed by, their classmates, that shattered my safety that I had in my head. And then 2 years later, I was in 7th grade. Columbine was 98, not 99, excuse me. So 3 years later, I'm in 7th grade on September 11th, and my school didn't say anything. They didn't make it a big deal, but we knew something was going on. I lived in Virginia, about 2 hours outside of Washington, D.C., maybe 3 hours at the time, in Ruckersville, Virginia, which is just about 20 minutes outside of Charlottesville, Virginia. But we knew something was going on. Kids were being pulled out left and right. There were no explanations going on. And then I got into my civics class, and I remember the first words out of our teacher's mouth when we sat down was, I know you all have heard. I know you've been talking about it all day. And my entire class, because we were a lot of the school that I went to, you moved with your class to different teachers. They hadn't started, like, oh, well, you go to this class, you go to this class. It was still kind of getting us used to moving around a school. But we all looked at her and we said, what are you talking about? What's going on? And that's what she told us, and she brought it up for us to watch. And it was horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. And I was so fascinated by it, and watching these two symbols, things. I knew the World Trade Center existed. I knew exactly what it was as soon as you told me what it was on the skyline. The two towers that are exactly the same height that make up a huge part of the New York skyline. I knew what it was. But to watch it come down, to watch those towers fall, to find out that our Pentagon had been attacked, to find out that there was another plane potentially headed, who knows where, was it headed to Philadelphia? Was it headed to the White House? Who knows where it was headed? But for the first time since 1941, we were attacked by a foreign power on this soil. And my view of American super excellence and exceptionalism and safety above board shattered. 100% shattered. And you start questioning everything when that happens to you. Nothing is sacred anymore. Literally, figuratively, nothing. So 2001, 2002, 2003, I remember the exact moment that we started bombing Iraq. And I remember it for a really odd reason. I'm obsessed with Law and Order Special Victims Unit, because I've been watching it with my mother since it first came on. But I was watching it, and it was Criminal Intent with Vincent D'Onofrio. So I'm watching Law and Order, and all of a sudden it breaks away to a breaking news story, and it shows Baghdad, Iraq, and air sirens are going off, and you see jets flying, and there's bombs that you can hear in the background. They're not showing anything on TV. You see one little car just kind of driving down the road, and I was upset that my show had been cut off, but I was so happy that we were finally doing something. At least then. I didn't know any better. We were in Afghanistan at that point, and we were going after the Taliban, and we were kicking their asses. And it only made sense to go after Saddam Hussein, too. I mean, he had weapons of mass destruction, and we needed to get those. But then you start hearing, oh, well, they're lying to you. That's not true. And then American Idiot came out, and it was one of those moments where everything felt right in my soul, hearing this and knowing that I wasn't the only one questioning things, and I wasn't the only one saying this was wrong, and that the ultimate act of a patriot is not to accept, it is not to fall in lockstep. The ultimate act of a patriot is to question. Always question. Always research. Always be just a little bit smarter than the people around you. To always pay attention. And to know that your country will never be the best country in the world, because no country can be the best country in the world. We all have our faults. We all have our problems. And that's not a bad thing. So it's been a very long journey, and pulling all of these thoughts and these feelings back up and bringing them back out, and feeling the angst and the anger and the confusion and the fascination. And, you know, for a lot of people this might not seem like such a big thing, but on top of all of that, I was questioning my own sexuality. So I have this whole thing going on while all of this is going on. And it is really just re-going through all of those memories and all of those thoughts and all those feelings in my head. It has been a really interesting and cathartic process for me. Thank you for listening. I know this one's longer than my other one, so I apologize, and I know it's a little dark. But 1 week from tonight, I cannot wait to see you guys in that audience.